Welcome to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast, where we provide constant improvement to businesses through timely, actionable financial solutions. Do you want answers to your financial questions? Email us at bsp@kaizencpas.com. I'm your host, Mark Valesky. Now let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Kaizen Time. I'm joined by Clay Hamlin, a partner here at the firm. Clay, you work with private equity quite a bit, don't you?
Indirectly, yes. We started seeing PE deals on a national level 5-6 years ago.
Our big ones, right?
Yeah, big deals. You read about it in the news, right? Mm-hmm. That had not really trickled down to our client size, $500,000, $20 million, and that sort of range of revenue. But about 2 or 3 years ago, we started seeing clients exiting their businesses either entirely or partially through PE deals, private equity. And that has pretty much stopped because in about the last maybe 2 or 3 months where we're just not seeing anything. Nothing's on the horizon. People are trying to do deals. But everything seems to be stalled.
So what I first want to say is we're talking even small businesses, local businesses that we work with, our own clients. Right. And then also I want to add, this is not uncommon for when there's administration changes in the government, right? Like, there's typically some type of pause where we'll see what's going on, right?
Yeah, that's true. And it really relates to uncertainty. So whenever you're faced with a situation where you're just not quite sure what to do, is this really a good deal? Are there things that I don't know about? Mm-hmm. The change in this administration has brought more uncertainty than maybe previous administrations for quite a while. Whether you like the changes or not, I think everyone agrees there's more uncertainty. And so private equity has kind of stood back and went, well, how do we evaluate these situations? How do we know whether this business now, what looked good a year ago, is not going to look so good in 12 months from now? Mm-hmm. And so they want to understand, when a PE company goes in to buy a small business, they ask for a ton of information.
Oh, yeah, they do. And we've talked about this quite a bit before. They want all your P&Ls. They want to know your history.
Sure. Give you an example.
Sure.
I have a client has historically done very, very well. Some of their customers are university, sell to universities.
Okay.
Product, which they import from China. Now, if you think about this, right, the tariffs have gone up, 145% from stuff from China, and cut off universities out of billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars worth of funds. So their orders have dried up and their cost of supplies have gone way up. So the orders falling off, cost of production going way up. Mm-hmm. What even 6 months ago look like an outstanding opportunity, right now as a PE company, they'd be like, I don't know. You have great historical data, but what we see is uncertainty. And it may all unwind perfectly. It may turn out to be just a short bump on the road, and that's it.
Well, typically we go to the past, right, to kind of try to predict the future. You look at businesses that survived 2008, 2009, the businesses that made it through COVID. You think, oh, these guys can do it. They could make it through any uncertainty that you may be coming up to. But these are completely different, right? Like COVID, it's everyone has to stay home. You still have lots of opportunities online. It's not that people didn't necessarily have funds. It's just they were restricted on what they could go out and do.
Correct.
But if this is affecting like hard goods, for example, that may be coming from wherever, because we import from all over the place now.
Correct.
That can have a dramatic effect. And a business that may not look like it would succeed could do just fine based on the resources they use, as opposed to the business you just talked about that may now be in a completely different situation.
Correct. Yep.
So what can we kind of determine from what we've seen already?
Well, so if you're a business owner and you were thinking, maybe I'll get a good PE deal, to exit my business. those are harder to come by. I'm not saying it's completely stopped, but it's much harder to come by. And you really have to talk through with a PE company why all the uncertainty doesn't really affect your business very much. So if you're sourcing things from the U.S., of course, that's very helpful.
It's a huge selling point, right?
If your customer base is insulated from change, that's very helpful. There aren't a lot of businesses that can really say practically everything comes from the U.S. and my customers are insulated. So that's the problem is making an effective presentation where you can actually say that without in the back of your mind going, that's not true.
I got a question for you. So a private equity business, they want to do business though, right? I mean, that's how they make money.
They're looking for returns.
Right.
7 years and they're out. It's pretty much the deal.
Okay. So in reality, it's not that they don't want to do it, but it's more important that they do it correctly and are successful as opposed to taking a massive hit.
Right. So, and even if it's not a massive hit, remember their life cycle, what they're looking for is a 7-year exit. And so if you look at it and you go, like, I might invest, I might say, well, I might buy Apple stock and I'm willing to hold that for 15 years and think, well, in 15 years for sure, it's going to do better, right?
Yeah, of course.
They're looking for 7 years. Well, if the economy is going to take 2 or 3 years to recover from the changes, they've got almost no time left to make their money.
That makes a ton of sense. So
the timeline problem is also huge right now. So that my point, I guess, is don't be counting on, maybe some friend of yours got a multi-million-dollar exit package, and $8-10 million to exit their small business. Mm-hmm. Those are harder to come by today.
Well, and a couple months ago, they may have been no problem, but now all of a sudden it's a huge change.
Correct. Yep.
So what can you tell businesses that are still looking to do that kind of deal in this kind of time of uncertainty?
That's a tough question. Going back to the narrative of your business, again, like why is your business insulated from the uncertainty? If you can present to that PE company that you're likely to provide a good return in a 7-year window, there are buyers. There's a lot of money.
It's still out there
waiting to do deals. PE companies are looking at it going, I don't know how I'm going to get my return with any sort of level of certainty. The roll of the dice just seems to be a much more far-fetched return today than it was even 6 months ago.
Okay. So would you say it's fair to say if you were looking to do a PE deal, if you can survive the next, until this time of uncertainty, as people say, has passed, you're probably going to be in a better negotiating spot?
Potentially. I think there's going to be pent-up demand.
Okay.
And so the lines at the PE door are going to be longer. I can't really say that you're going to have a better shot at it. I can't predict that one.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about specific with private equity or any of the goods from other countries coming in or moving about?
Those are really two different things.
Please tell me, because I do want to know a little bit about hard goods and how they're affecting us.
Yeah. So when you're sourcing goods, the world is very complex in terms of sourcing goods, and what seems to be sourced from one country oftentimes is sourced from multiple countries when you look deeper into the equation of where these parts are coming from. And so as an example, let's say you're a Chinese manufacturer and you're saying, well, I have 145% tariff right now. What many Chinese companies did is they set up factories in Mexico and Vietnam, among two of the biggest, and then manufactured their part there and then sold it into the U.S., bypassing the tariffs from the first Trump administration.
Okay.
So when Trump put the tariffs on initially, he said, across the board, everybody's tariffs are going way up. And the Chinese kind of went, my factory in Mexico is now out as well, and my factory in Vietnam is out. So it was very effective of causing heartache. When we rolled back everything pretty much to, I think, 10%, except for China, we are going to see again Chinese companies using bypasses through Mexico and Vietnam to bring goods into the United States. It's a little bit more circuitous, so you have to, they have to ship the parts to Mexico, they have to make the parts there, or bring them to Vietnam, make the parts there. But we will see this. If the tariffs remain as they are today, which is mid to late April, and this when you see this, it might be later, so it could be completely different then. But if it's still standing for these 90 days, then we're going to start seeing parts coming from Chinese companies that are in different parts of the world. So we'll still be able to get our product, but it won't be coming directly from China.
It's going to be taking a few different routes.
That is correct. Okay. It's almost guaranteed.
So, and then it'll end up saying where it's from that last country.
Yes.
Where it'll be branded
be coming from Mexico.
Everything is going to be coming from Mexico.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. Perfect. Thank you so much, Clay.
Sure. Thanks, Mark.
You've been listening to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast. If you like what you heard, subscribe and leave a 5-star review. This podcast has been brought to you by Kaizen CPAs Plus Advisors, providing advisory and accounting services to help you grow your business. Learn more at kaizencpas.com or email us at bsb@kaizencpas.com.